And welcome. I am absolutely delighted by the turnout tonight. We might have to move it to the boardroom next year. When I looked at the RSVP just a few hours ago, it was pretty minimal. So this is a really lovely surprise. Thank you all for joining us tonight. This October meeting began about 4 years ago as part of our efforts to have deeper conversations and communication between the board and the membership. Unlike the annual meeting that you may attend in March that follows a very specific agenda of what we can share, this one's a little bit more open-ended. And so we tried to formulate the agenda around some of the efforts the board's been working towards over the past 6 months. Some topics you might want to hear about, a general state of the club mid-year update, and more importantly, we save a lot of time at the end for questions and answers. So we'd love to hear from you at the end of the night. I'll begin by sharing a little bit, there we go, of the board priorities that we've been working on. Then Bob Sterling, our vice president, well, this is going a little out of order. Bob Sterling, our president, will join us to speak about culture. Kim Brady, our general manager, will stand and talk to us about service. Last year, she spoke more about the food and beverage business, and now we're going to build upon that and talk about how service completes part of that picture. Our secretary, Marisa Campbell, will join us to give us a membership update, and also to talk about the Rackets Facilities Project, which is nearing completion, and we're very excited to share those details with you. And finally, our treasurer, Mike O'Donnell, will give a financial update on the strength of the club. If I can ask the rest of the board to please stand up for a moment. The rest of the board is seated amongst you tonight. I think it's really nice to be able to put a face with a name because we don't have much publicity on the whole board, but here are the 12 members of the board. Please feel free to drill them with questions at the bar after tonight's meeting. But in all reality, I couldn't ask for a more dedicated and caring group of 12 people to come together and work towards the betterment of the club together. On the screen, you'll find the strategic priorities of the club. This should look very familiar. It was first shared in 2021, and they continue to serve as the foundation for every discussion and decision we at the board level are making. They're the roadmap that keeps us focused on advancing the long-term success of Waynesborough. We're going to dive into a few of these this evening. And that translates into the board priorities. So each year after the annual meeting in March, the board has a 2-day retreat up in the boardroom where we define the focus areas for the year that align with and advance the club's strategic priorities. These were shared, throughout the year, but tonight we'll give you a little bit more detail on many of the areas. We'll go into culture, member experience and service, the RFP, as well as some general updates around finance and membership. But before we get underway, I do want to take a moment and share recent developments around the TRAP program, which has been a forced attention area and necessary focus area of the board dating back as far as 2019. As previously has been communicated, in March of 2023, a civil lawsuit was filed against the club by a group of neighbors that ultimately centered around the noise emitted from the TRAP shooting. After several years of effort on this matter, we have just this week reached a settlement with the plaintiffs that ends the litigation. We are legally bound by the confidentiality terms contained in the settlement agreement, but I do have a statement that I can disclose to you, which is the lawsuit has been settled with the club agreeing to cease all shooting sports events on the club property unless shooting sports events on club property result in decibel levels at all boundaries between club property and plaintiff's properties at or below the maximum level permitted by the applicable Easttown Sound ordinances. As part of the settlement, the plaintiffs release all claims, including but not limited to environmental claims. There will be a written communication to the membership that goes out to inform the broader membership of this, but we had this opportunity this evening to talk with you. We wanted to share what we were able to. I also ask, for your understanding and respect of the matter that is as far as I'm legally able to share with you all. So I'd ask, that we limit questions to other matters of board interest. So with that, I will move forward with this evening's agenda, and I'd like to end up and welcome Bob Sterling to the podium, please.
Thank you, Carolyn. Well, thank you all for attending this evening. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bob Sterling, and I serve as the Vice President for the Board of Governors here at Waynesborough. And when we get together as a board and talk about meetings such as these, we try to think of a few themes to communicate to you all, and tonight is no exception. And what we decided on for tonight is really these themes. And we talk about the mission, which is really the why, right? And then Carolyn just went through the strategic priorities, which is the what. What is it that we want to accomplish as a board for Waynesborough? Later tonight, we'll talk about some of the goals, the progress against those goals on what it is that we want to do. And lastly, we want to talk about the how. How do we go about accomplishing these goals and these different activities here at Waynesborough? So I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight about values. And this is going to be the, what I would call the audience participation moment of our session tonight. So how many of you here tonight are aware that Waynesborough has a set of core values? Carolyn's not allowed. I'm going to explain why she's not allowed to answer that. So probably about a handful of you, probably about 5 of you. So you all are much smarter and much more aware of Waynesborough history than Carolyn and I are, because probably about 6 months ago, Carolyn approached me and mentioned, did you know that we had a set of core values? And I believe you found those out from an email from past governance around 2012, so a long time ago. So that begs the question of A, good, that Waynesborough has a set of core values, bad, that so few people, including us as a board, are aware of them. So we thought tonight would be a good opportunity to make you aware of our core values. And we put together a small group of folks on the board, Megan Dupre and Marianne O'Connor, and we sat down and we took a look at the 5 core values here at Waynesborough. And we wanted to make sure that they were still relevant, given the last time they were put together was at least 12 to 15 years ago. We wanted to make sure they centered on what we feel is important as a board in representing our club. And so I'm going to take us through those in just a moment. But I think what's important for y'all to think through here is, number one, this isn't about the board. And it's not just about the membership. Importantly, it's also about our staff. And it's important about the activities that we choose to have here at Waynesborough. Because just as in business, when a set of core values is laid out for an organization or an association, it provides a group of values, a group of statements that you want to aspire to as an individual, as part of a bigger organization or a bigger community. And that's what we have here with these core values for Waynesborough. So number one is community and connection. And I'm not going to read through every word under each one of these core values, but I do think it's important to point out a few things. So with this one, what really landed on me was welcoming environment, where members, families, and guests have a sense of belonging and camaraderie. Think about it. Think about how you feel when you step on this campus. I know I can only speak for myself. I feel happy, I feel joyful, because I'm going to be with people that I know. I'm going to be participating in activities that I know I'm going to enjoy. Secondly, excellence in experience. Real important, right? We talk all the time about the job of a board is to create the best experience possible for each and every member at this club. So we want to make sure that we continue to offer exceptional facilities, services, and programs that are going to enrich the lives of our members and elevate the club experience. Respect and empowerment. We value our dedicated staff and invest in their growth, success, and well-being. And this is one part, I think, of core values that I know Kim, for example, will be able to share with her employees and be able to evaluate her employees on things like this. So real important that we respect and empower staff and employees. Number 4, integrity and stewardship. We uphold the highest standards of fiscal responsibility and ethical leadership to ensure the club's enduring strength and sustainability. And lastly, the fifth core value is tradition and progress. We honor the club's rich tradition and heritage, but we still look at empowering innovation and change is going to reflect the ongoing membership and needs of our community here at Waynesborough. So those are the 5 core values. And as I said earlier, it seemed to be a bit of a black hole in terms of this being known for the membership. So what we plan to do is begin to, I think, make them more visible for the for Waynesborough. You may see them in the Waynesborough Times. You may see them brought up at other meetings that we have, and it's also things that are going to be reviewed with our staff and employees here at Waynesborough. So let me take a step back now and just ask you all, what do you think? Any changes? Anything missing? Okay. Well, thank you all again, and I look forward to talking with you all later this evening. I'm going to bring up Kim.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. It shows a true commitment and how wonderful this membership is by your participation. In 2024, our focus was on building our team and the framework necessary to begin elevating our food and beverage experience. To start 2025, we welcomed key hires to the team, including Executive Chef Ryan Bibziak, Director of Catering Sarah Chapley, Food and Beverage Manager Christine Scheip, and a transition within our communications department with Aaron Capello taking over that role. With the team finally in place, we focused on establishing structure and the foundation of what would be service excellence here at Waynesborough. Now we've had the opportunity to spend just over 8 months together as a cohesive team, and we are aligned in vision and purpose for striving to deliver an exceptional member experience. This year has truly been about refining and defining who we are. We set our sights on the clubhouse. We work to create 2 distinctive dining experiences, one in our Fairway Grill as an elevated atmosphere, and another that celebrates down in the pub, a more casual, friendly family offering. Each day, we focus as a team on consistency, quality, and continuous improvement, and learn and make adjustments through our membership's feedback. Beyond dining, we also focused on programming this year, creating something for everyone through our annual calendar. Every department has played a role in establishing this new standard for the club. The programming calendar was designed to take a holistic approach and plan the year as a whole. But most importantly, as we just talked about our core values, we focused on fostering engagement and connection within our membership. From things like First Friday and Sunday fun days for our families to signature events like Top of the Hill, these experiences were all about giving back to our membership and strengthening the relationships that make Waynesborough so special. But we also introduced new events this year, such as a car show that just happened on October 18th. It was an amazing showing, and I think everyone really enjoyed having things like that come to as a new, exciting experience. And we also have other things like an upcoming murder mystery. We brought back wine dinners, beer society events, and movie nights for the kids. Each event added to this calendar was intentionally designed to bring our membership together in new and exciting ways. Throughout all of this, though, we made a commitment to improving communication. We launched our first ever events times and are working to establish a consistent cadence of communication as we plan for 2026. We also made significant investments in our team and training. Over the past year, we've built a management team that leads by example and shares a unified approach to service. Together, we've created service standards and guidelines that set clear expectations for every member of our team. As we move forward and we talk about service culture, we plan to introduce a comprehensive employee orientation program This will ensure every team member is onboarded consistently and understands our culture and our core values. Our goal for service is simple. We want to continue to build our service culture here at Waynesborough that reflects the quality, consistency, and excellence our members deserve. Thank you for being so supportive throughout this entire year. And now I'll invite Marisa Campbell.
My name is Marisa Campbell, for those of you who don't know me, and I am currently the secretary. So here are the stats that the board receives every month in our board meetings, and these stats are year to date. We are currently full in both our house and full membership classes, with social being at 44 and our total membership being at 832. However, I learned today that these capacity numbers, as Christina always tells me, they change every day, and while these slides were prepared on Monday and finalized, the numbers have already changed. So we are actually at 45 for social, making the total to 833. We've had some movement on the full wait list because of members changing to either senior status or non-resident. However, we have only had 2 full resignations year to date. However, we are also currently still managing a very healthy interested candidate wait list at 99. And those are the people that have called and just said they're interested, they have a sponsor, and they're just waiting for their name to be called. That being said, we have updated this bubble chart, our membership pathway. Our interested applicants are currently waiting about 2 years before they're given an application. The application process, as you all know, still takes typically 4 to 6 months. We are not utilizing the approved candidate waitlist at this point. People are moving directly into social. Social typically lasts 1 to 3 years, and then house members typically wait 10 years before they gain their full membership. So when we look at our interested candidate wait list that was 99, about 66%, we have a return rate of those requesting the application and actually submitting. That being said, recently the board voted to increase the social capacity to 100 members. We were targeting 50. By increasing the social, we're able to move members as they come in and as people depart categories. Excuse me, as people depart categories. This happens a lot in the December, January timeframe when people recommit to their membership in January. This past winter, we did have some gaps, and it took a few months in order for people to go through the application process, and by May, we had filled house again. So by increasing social, it just allows the management to move people through, and then we're not left with any gaps. And then the last bullet point is just talking about the waitlist offerings that we gave to the house and full categories. After looking over at the results of this, there was very little impact to the member experience, and the board will continue to monitor these types of offerings, as well as the data to see what type of offerings may be offered in the future. Moving right along, I'm going to go right into the RFP update. So phase 1, which was the pickleball courts and the stormwater management, adding some new parking spaces. We are still currently working with Keystone Sports Court to evaluate the courts. We opened 5 new courts in this past, I guess, May or so. But we used the summer to monitor the courts and look for any areas that needed attention, and we developed a punch list. We did receive our final permit and closed that out with the township in about October of 2025. However, we're still working very closely with Keystone to rectify the areas of concern, and we will make an announcement to the membership once we have a timeline and a plan moving forward. So phase 2, this is the exciting part. So the parking lot, I don't know if anybody's been down there, it has literally been full, not only with members playing paddle, but with various trucks of subcontractors. We have so many subcontractors either making deliveries or doing work on the hut because our interior finishes are going in very quickly. The drywall is up. We have flooring in, there is tile that's installed, and most importantly, the bar is open for business. Delran General Construction, the RFP committee can't say enough good things about our general contractor. They've been an excellent partner to work with. Total Platform, who is our paddle contractor, is also on site, and they are working to install the decking and the final brand-new paddle court. This past week, we gave the pros, the RFP committee, and the board the chance to have a sneak peek of the hut, and I can't say enough good things. We got lots of good comments, and everybody seemed to really love the space. Everyone seemed to be blown away by the fact that we removed the stairs leading to the bathrooms and how much that actually opened up the space. We are still pushing for a mid-November completion date, and the design team has actually booked their hotels to be here with the furniture install. So when you look back at the priorities for the paddle hut from the membership listening sessions we did in May of 2024, we actually accomplished the first top 6, which is great. The first one was to keep the 360 view. So if you notice, this is just as you enter the new hut from the pickleball area, we still have windows going all the way around. Number 2 was keeping the space elevated. That was one thing people really liked, was being higher up in the paddle hut versus the court level. People really wanted more outdoor seating, so if you can look in this rendering, not only do we have tables and chairs, but we're going to have couches with fire pits. The stairs were removed, as I said, from the interior. We maintained the fluidity of the decking to allow a free access from pickleball to the paddle hut, and I have to say, it truly feels like a racket complex down there. It feels very complete. And the 6th and final priority was outdoor heat. So there are 2 fire pits, and then as the awning that faces the 6th, is that the 6th fairway? There's heating built into the ceiling outside. So it will provide some outdoor comfort. And I'm sure you all have already seen this, but this is just a rendering of the inside. Excuse me. So again, plenty of seating. I believe there's seating for about 52. There's 9 seats at the bar, plus a ton of areas to provide for catering and watching paddle. So we hope to see you all at the paddle opening party very soon. Date to be determined. Mike, you're up next.
Thanks, Marisa. Thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. Great to see so many faces here. Not great to have to go after all the pretty exciting pictures of our new awesome paddle hut, but we're going to make this finance update really exciting. My name's Mike O'Donnell. I think I know most of you in this room, certainly don't know everybody, but please step up and say hi when we're having a beer afterward. You may also recognize me because my partner and I won the Mulligan Golf Tournament last month in the net division, which I actually think measures a truer champion than just a gross golfer that doesn't even need any strokes. So I don't want to belabor the point, don't want to make a big deal, but if you want to talk about what I was thinking during the round or how I developed a championship pedigree with my partner Todd Morrissey and myself, happy to talk later. Don't want to waste any more time unless there are any quick questions right now. So getting into the financial update, the board and finance committee each month are going through the very detailed P&L each month, or the income statement, looking at the monthly results. I do like to step back and just take a broader view and let's just think about the balance sheet of the club, our assets and liabilities, as well as our cash flow. How much cash are we either generating or burning every year? So I wanted to start there before we got into this year's P&L. So our cash balance as of September 30, 2025 is $5.3 million. Last year at this same time, it was $5.6 million. However, debt last year at this meeting was 7.5. It's now 6.5. Our original mortgage on this building was paid off in March of 2024. We've been repaying our other debt at a fairly rapid pace. So the summary that you see in that green on the bottom of the page is that our cash has gone down by $300,000 in the past year, but during that year we paid off nearly $1 million of debt, and we also invested approximately $1.3 million into our new paddle racket area. So if you took off those two items, our cash flow would have been positive to the tune of $2 million or more. So that's really shows the great financial position we're in right now, that we could pay off $1 million of debt, pay approximately $1.3 million toward a special non-recurring project, doing all that, but still cash is only down $300,000. So we do get caught up month to month on exactly how the financials are each month when we're looking at the P&L, but I do just like to step back and show that we have a ton of cash, and the club is throwing off a lot of cash flow as well. In terms of this year's financials, so this is year-to-date September 2025. Total revenue is $5.9 million, which is about $300,000 less than our budget through September 30th. Operating expenses, however, make up for that. They are $200,000 lower than budgeted, so that's a good guy. Those two numbers, obviously, on a rounded basis, appear to be $100,000, but after rounding, our operating loss is $74,000 year-to-date, which is only $26,000 worse than our budget. Just to give a sense of where we were last year, for example, year-to-date 9/30/2024, that $74,000 operating loss. Last year at this time, it was $156,000. So we're about $80,000 better than last year. And in case you're wondering why that operating loss is an actual loss, it's a negative number, the results improve dramatically in October, November, December. So by the time we get to the end of the year, we will have positive operating income, which was our goal at the year, and we should be fairly close to that goal. But showing the loss at this time of the year is always a bit scary because you're wondering why it's a negative number, but will be positive for operating income by the end of the year. Moving down to the bottom of the page, probably don't talk about it enough, but our net income, so our bottom line income is $800,000 year-to-date 2025, which is about $600,000 better than budget. So from a bottom line basis on the income statement, we're doing great. That's a result of having higher initiation fees than we had forecasted, also higher interest income because our cash balances are even higher than we thought. So overall, having a strong year, but more importantly than just looking at the P&L, our balance sheet is in a great spot, and we are quite successful in generating cash each year. So that's all I had.
And that's why Mike's our closer. He's got the best sense of humor on the board here. So we have plenty of time this evening for questions and answers. I'm happy to field whatever you might have. Yes?
Why was there such a long time between social members being accepted into the House? If there's paperwork that needs to be done, why don't social people do that up front so that when positions become available, they can move right into House?
Sure. So let me back up here.
Can you please repeat the question so it gets in the audio?
Sure. May I take the microphone now?
Yes.
Okay, exactly. The question was regards to why is there a gap between filling social membership? So If you remember, social membership does not have a cap in the bylaws. We could take 800 social members, but is that the best thing for the club? Probably not. So we purposely limited the number of applications we were taking to the social category during a time when we were going through a leadership transition, bringing in a new chef, and making sure we could get the service to where we wanted it to be. Now we feel we're in a pretty comfortable spot going into the holidays and knowing that we will have some attrition at the year end to go ahead and start accepting more applications. So the board, let me just finish that thought and I'll get back to you. So the board approved starting the applications for the next 50 applicants, which brought us roughly to the goal of about 100 social members in the club. And that will take some time. We want to do that on a gradual basis so we're not overwhelming our admissions committee all at one time as well. Did that answer your question?
No, my question was, you said there were spaces available in the house membership, but it took from December to March or something for people from social to move into the house. And I was wondering why there was such a long gap in that process.
So there wasn't a tremendous gap in that process. I think the gap was only a few months as we were transitioning people from social into house.
What do they have to do to transition from social to house that would take months? Why couldn't whatever it is they need to do be done as social members so that when a house position becomes available, they can move people right in, which I would assume is a financial benefit to the club?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a financial benefit to the club. So the administration standpoint is pretty short in time. These are members of the club. They've already applied. They've already been granted membership of the club, and it's really, they've already put down a deposit towards the next category of membership, and it's just a paperwork of getting people through. There wasn't a tremendous gap at that time. Marisa, can you speak more to that?
So you always have people who decide not to recommit in January. And so at that time, we didn't have any members kind of waiting in the wings. We didn't have people ready to go because we weren't utilizing the approved candidate wait list. So in January, once we got an idea of how many numbers were available, we started inviting some more candidates off of the interested applicant wait list. They went through the admissions process, which takes 4 to 6 months. So that's why when house spots opened up in the spring, we just didn't have people ready to go because there wasn't even a house wait list at that point. So it was just a matter of having some applications ready to go, members ready to go, in order to fill those spots.
Do we have a house wait list now?
We do. I think the other thing maybe to clarify too is that not everybody in the social category is waiting for another class. Some people choose to stay in the social category. But yes, we do have a wait list for every area of this at this point. Yes, Bill.
Since I have the mic now, could you update the pickleball players on the status, the real status of repairs?
Sure.
Because there's a lot of us that are afraid of cold weather, and we don't want to lose pickleball courts for 2 months next spring.
We fight over these moments. So here's the update. There were plans to start with the paving construction through H&K to redo the pickleball courts as of the week of October 20th. H&K came back and put a clause in with Keystone letting us know that they would no longer be responsible for any of the work that they had done. I did not feel comfortable moving forward with them at that time because that would be the fate of our pickleball courts. Should next year anything happen, we would not have that subcontractor warranty of 1 year. And they are brand new courts, so we want it done right. So we have gone back to Keystone and asked for another solution, and that there would be no clause put in there that would jeopardize our future for pickleball. So until I have a full solution of what the next steps are, which hopefully will be in the coming weeks, we did not present any additional information, and I apologize for that. Should have been a little bit more transparent, but that is the main reason why we didn't move forward with milling and asphalting the courts at that time.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
So we saw there that there's, I think, 102 golf waiting lists, which is great and shows membership. And I know the last couple of years there's been some kind of creativity to try to utilize that. there was kind of the golf membership for the summer, which, talking to my friends, I don't think was well received. But is there other thoughts in terms of timing? Like if you come here after 3 o'clock on a weekend in the summer, the course is empty. So has there been some thought for people on the wait list, kind of flexibility of time when it's underutilized?
Sure. So this has definitely been evolving conversation at the board level. So you have to sort of take a step back and remember in 2023, there was no flexibility to offer any additional access to anyone on a wait list until the governor's proposed a bylaw change, which the membership voted upon. And so we've taken that, and at the time we made the commitment to the membership that we would make database decisions that also protected the rights of the full membership category, as well as tried to utilize our campus in a more efficient manner to create offerings for those on a wait list. So the first thing that was offered the first year was an additional 4 rounds of golf to those that were on a waiting list for golf. There were some limitations around days of the week and times those could be utilized that we gained feedback from the members about that. And then last year we went forth with an opportunity called the Top 25, which essentially had an access fee as well as additional dues that mirrored that of a full member. And it was an additional 20 rounds, but it allowed weekend access, some tournament access. It allowed about 20 extra rounds per the season, and then of course unlimited off season. So it was almost behaving as in a full member. And we're continuing to gather feedback about that. Actually, we just at the last board meeting had a conversation. We had some verbatims from some 45 members that are house members waiting for golf. And we looked at that, that data and that information, and we're looking at what we can do for the next year. We won't have that answer to the membership until we get through the budget financing, the finance process that's coming up in November, which is our budgeting process for 2026. We'll also have to be watching what our membership numbers are happening at the year end, because that's when the majority of our resignations and new members come into the club. But we are hoping to reevaluate that and what's going to happen in 2026. Sorry. Thanks.
So understanding that we're all individual and unique individuals, do you have data or a sense at least of the utilization versus revenue streams from each of the different classes of membership? Because in a caveman way, it strikes me that social members basically come here and utilize food and beverage, period. So as long as we have capacity, like why not increase the pool of social members?
That's exactly the conversation that's happened at the board recently when we decided to go ahead and admit more members or more applications into the social category. We think we can very comfortably accommodate 100 social members within the club. We have at some points in our past history as well. And you're right, we've also looked at data just club-wide. I can't promise I've looked at data by category. I think that's interesting, and I'll take that as a follow-up. But we have looked at data trends across, and we are seeing a decline in events. We're seeing a decline in dining, and we're also seeing a decline for the first time in golf, which a very minor decline. That stayed very, very constant over the years, which is why we're monitoring that very closely. But generally, we are seeing slight declines across the campus. And the easiest, social has use of the clubhouse and of events on campus. To your point, that's a very easy way to get more people dining and engaging in events.
Yeah, as long as we're not losing money per meal. But on the golf side, as a fair weather golfer, shall we say, there wasn't that much fair weather this spring.
That's true. But a really nice October. Yes. Do you mind taking? I'll walk back. Thanks.
Hi there.
Hi.
So I've had an old fashioned, so it might not be very coherent. But the question I have is this. We do know that members with young families spend more money because they utilize the club more. Is there any thought to expanding or creating another category like the gold leaf, so us older people who utilize it less make room for the younger people coming in?
So I'm not sure that's an entirely fair statement. So we have looked at usage patterns, and I'll tell you what we see is the young families, there's a period of utilization that the young families are very heavy users of the club. Then it starts to decline when your kids are in high school and college, and then it goes back up when you're empty nesters and have more time availability to use the club. So to the point, yes, I think there probably is a declining point at the end, which is the intention of the Gold Leaf program was for members 85 plus who have been in our community for 50 years that can maintain their connection to our community, even if they're not able to utilize the club in the same capacity that they had before. But to the effect of our 60-year-olds not utilizing the club as much as our 40-year-olds, that's just not what the data is showing right now.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Barb. Please stand up and say your name too, so everybody.
Barb Miles.
Thanks.
Getting back to pickleball, and I thought I saw something maybe on the agenda that talked about safety on the pickleball courts. Does that include the concerns about errant golf balls and what the plan might be?
Yeah, I'm happy to speak to it. So we have, throughout the construction process, the pickleball courts, right, let me get back to do we have the schematic? I don't think we do. So where the pickleball courts are now was parking lot, right? Those were parking spaces. The paddle courts, we removed a paddle court, but then they shifted slightly closer to the golf course, not by a ton, 10 feet or so, in order to make space for the extension of the hut. What we have seen, we took down some trees, but not a tremendous amount, but we have seen some instances of golf balls that take a very severe left hook. I mean, we asked Adam about it, and he said, if I tried to actively hit that shot 10 times, I maybe could accomplish it one time. When we're seeing it, frankly, is on Mondays when we're having outings, and there are people that are not experienced golfers and are just out there whacking at the ball. So we have had 2 balls bounce onto the pickleball courts. We have had in the past, and this isn't unique to this year, this has happened over the course of the year, there is usually an errant ball or 2 that bounces into the paddle courts. So we have evaluated options. The immediate fix on the paddle courts, which is actually more at risk because of the distance from the hole, or pardon me, from where you tee off, is the board will be putting in, after we've reinstalled the court, there are some fences that kind of go up at an angle from the edge of the paddle courts, and we're doing that on the 3 paddle courts closest to the hole, if you will. That is a relatively low-cost solution for that problem. It is a bigger problem to try to solve for any golf ball that's going onto a pickleball court that doesn't have a high fence line like a paddle court. It's something we're talking about, but it's certainly not an easy fix, and I don't think I have a direct answer for you today. Bill? So we have looked at that too. The height that you would need for a pine tree to correct for the trajectory of the ball would be so significant that we would be bringing in like the Rockefeller-sized Christmas tree in order to fill that. I do think landscaping will help over time with that challenge, and that's something we'll evaluate at the time too. Oh. Probably not. We did actually have one question I'll read now just while we pass the microphone around. So we did offer members to write in a question, and this might seem like I led the witness here, but I did not. He actually, I don't know John Neef, but he did write in yesterday, and he asked me to read this to the members here and answer it. So he said he came for the BYOB dinner on October 24th, and it was superb. His only complaint was, why was attendance low? It deserves to be sold out, and what can we do to keep that going? So we talked a little bit about social membership, and I do think that will help more activity drive more onto utilizing our events. But then I also wanted to showcase that our entertainment committee, Gabriella Dokis is our new chair. She's here with us tonight. Carol Lake is our past chair and has done a tremendous job. So they've also, part of it is communication. So they've worked very hard partnering with our staff to develop and refresh the social calendar. So we've taken some original favorites that have always been on the calendar and made them a little bit fresher. We've added some new events like the car show, BYOB wine dinner, mystery party. There's a lot of things that we've added to the calendar, but it's also communication. So Aaron put forth This is the newest one called From Halloween to the Holidays, but Aaron also put forth one called Christmas in July. If you haven't grabbed one, grab one and keep it on your counter. It showcases every event with like a very nice graphic from here until the end of the calendar year. And we're hoping people are a little bit more enticed if they have something that they can see and plan for the entire year instead of, we all get busy. We all, many of us have children and activities get busy and it's hard to carve out a night. But hopefully if we mark our calendars, we can come. And I also, I told John, I think I appreciate the testimonial because that also helps build confidence of the membership to come back and try another event and try another dining experience. Chef is doing a tremendous job. I can't speak highly enough. He's also creating a new menu every 2 months. We as a club have never had that before. We used to rotate a menu every 6 months, so it gets a little stale. We're talking every 2 months that chefs have a brand new menu and specials. So come back and give it a try. Were there any other questions?
Just to that point.
Sure.
Here, Amir. You forgot your mic.
Thank you, I got my mic. And the bourbon is really working. But just to that point, we attended one of the wine dinners, and it was out of this world. It was awesome. Highly recommended.
Thank you. Sure.
Just the new social member has the option to join. New social member has the option to join house or full waiting list.
Yeah, the way the bylaws are written, you must be a member of the club to join a waiting list. So in order to be on the house wait list or the full membership wait list, you must be a member of the club. Admission is into the social category currently. Most members, almost all of them, choose to go to house and then to golf because it is such a tremendous wait for golf, but that is an option.
Okay, so if you say you want to be full and the house membership opens up, will you be invited to join in the house?
You may only be on one wait list at a time.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for coming. Truly, it's so nice to see so many faces and be with you tonight.